Hello everyone and thank you for tuning into Trade Chat. My name is Panzer and today is just a vlog, which I haven't really done in a while, and that's weird for me because I used to do vlogs all the time and I feel like it's been a while since we just sat down and had a little chat. I actually filmed a vlog right before I left for Scotland, but I went off on this really weird rabbit hole-y tangent and it just wasn't a good video, so I decided not to upload it. Not that I think this one is going to be any better because, I don't know, I'm me. But yeah, I just got back from Scotland. I've been traveling so much lately. I've gone so many places. It's unreal. And I'm really not done yet because, of course, BlizzCon is like a month away at this point, which is nuts. How did we get to, the end of September of 2017? I feel like it just turned 2017. This whole thing is very bizarre for me, but we're here. We made it. Together we made it. Yeah, so I just got back from Scotland, which was a ton of fun. I'm going to upload a video in the next week or so, probably, that is like a really pretty slideshow of all the pictures that I took. Well, not all the pictures, but some of the pictures that I took while I was there. I went with my friend Carrie, and we had an absolute blast. We just kind of drove around a lot and saw the Scottish countryside. I guess the whole country is the countryside, but we saw a whole lot of nature. We drove out to the Isle of Skye, we saw Inverness, we saw Stirling, we saw Edinburgh, we went to Oban, we did all sorts of stuff. We saw a bunch of castles. It was really, really fun, and it's just been, I'm like very tired. I don't know if you can tell, I'm not back yet fully 100%. I really wanted to film a video about WoW or something today, but I just didn't have it in me. I took a shower and I did my hair and I went to put makeup on, and my skin is like, you can't really see it too much on camera, but my skin is like really angry at me from being on a plane and using different water and I didn't even have like the regular soap and stuff that I use, and it's just mad at me, so I didn't want to put anything on it. I'm hoping if I give it a couple days of rest and relaxation that it'll come back to being on my team again, but so that's what's going on. This is what I really look like. Scary, huh? But yeah, so it's been a long everything. Right before I left, I was really excited about this because right before I left, I got these stickers in the mail. I had stickers printed of some of my Twitch emotes that I'm going to be giving away at conventions like BlizzCon and stuff, and I might print out some more of the other emotes. So if you have like a favorite emote on Twitch that you don't see here, let me know. Also, speaking of Twitch, I actually think I'm going to be streaming some more on YouTube as well. Maybe I'll do both, or maybe I just might move to YouTube. I don't know that I'm supposed to disclose this information to you, but I'm going to anyways. I have been a Twitch partner since it was Justin TV and Twitch didn't exist. And that whole entire time, I've never had a contact. I've never had, like, anybody who I can talk to if something goes wrong. And I've never had any leverage, I guess. I mean, I've spent a lot of time streaming on Twitch over the years, and I've helped raise, rather, like you guys have raised, and I've just facilitated it. But my team has raised $250,000 plus for St. Jude, and I don't know, I have quite a few followers on Twitch, and I have had, subscribers on Twitch are kind of weird and they rotate, but I've had a pretty significant number of subscribers over the year, and Twitch refuses to give me any better than a 50-50 split, and I think that's unacceptable. I don't think it's fair in any situation to ask people to subscribe to me so that $2.50 of their $5 subscription fee goes to Twitch. I don't think it's fair, so I don't really want to tell you guys to do that. As much as I love streaming and as much as I love, all the fun emotes and stuff, I don't know. I feel like it's dishonest. I feel like I'm kind of lying to my subscribers. Like, they think that $5 is going to me, and it's really only $2.50, and like, what are they giving Twitch the other $2.50 for? And I have no one to leverage with, and even if I did, I had someone come back to me and tell me I needed at least 1,000 subscribers before you could have any sort of conversation, which is insane to me, because that means I have to give Twitch $2,500 a month before they're willing to negotiate with me, and that to me is just not fair, and I don't really want to participate in that platform, if I'm being totally honest. And not to mention, like, I'm just not really into, like, I really like streaming, but I'm not really into the streaming scene, if that makes any sense. Like, people, they donate to you, and I know it comes from a good place, and I know that people are being generous and kind, and it's not that I feel that way, it's that I feel awkward. Like, it doesn't make me feel awkward to tell you guys, like, oh, if you buy a loot crate, your first loot crate, I'll get, like, a kickback, or if you guys buy t-shirts or this or that or whatever, like, it's weird because then you're getting something for your money. But with something like Twitch where you're just giving money and there's kind of nothing in return, it makes me feel like, I don't know, like, it's weird. And that's how a lot of people make money on Twitch. And I think it is very telling about Twitch as a service that people don't want to use. People don't donate directly through Twitch. They kind of bypass it and do it that way. And I don't know, I kind of want to try out the new YouTube system because YouTube now has like a paid subscription model similar to Twitch, and I think the split is better. I haven't really looked into it. But if it's not better initially, at least I know I have leverage because I have an amazing manager at my YouTube network. So I don't know, I'm thinking about streaming here more on YouTube. The only difference would really be is that there would be no music, because Twitch is pretty good about letting you have whatever music while you're live and then they just mute the VOD. Whereas YouTube, I don't want to get strikes and I don't want to get flagged and I don't want to get in trouble, so I probably just won't even bother because I don't think it's worth the risk. But if it means I stream more, I think it's worth it in the long run. So I would love to hear you guys' thoughts on streaming and whether, YouTube or Twitch, or what your thoughts on that were. If you're a subscriber, I would doubly love to hear your input because, of course, this decision is kind of based on the idea of subscribing. I'm like out of breath. I've been my nose is kind of stuffy, and I've been kind of quiet for the last day or two. I got home. So when I was in Scotland, I slept 3 out of 6 nights. I was gone for 6 nights and I slept 3 of them. 3 of them I pulled all-nighters because the day that I left, as I was getting to the airport, my plane was delayed 2 hours and I was scheduled to miss my flight from New York City to Scotland. And I told the woman behind the desk this, and she was kind of flustered and didn't know what to tell me. And I was like, well, is there another flight I can take? And she's like, it's in 24 hours. And I was like, you're telling me there's not another flight I can take in 24 hours? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, well, what do you think I should do? And she was like, I think you should try because, a lot of times flights get delayed and very rarely do they leave exactly on time. And, this has already been delayed 15 minutes. So that means you're now only missing by 10 minutes, not 25 minutes. So I think you should risk it and go for it. And yeah, I missed my flight. There wasn't really anything I could have done. It was the plane got delayed. My plane got delayed. So it was either kind of try to make it there or wait 24 hours because I wasn't really offered another option of how to get there. So when I landed in JFK, it was almost 10 o'clock at night. I went straight to the customer service desk. Then there was no one at the customer service desk, so I had to walk to the opposite end. If you've ever been to JFK Airport, it is a really long walk from, I landed at B52 or B53, and I had to walk all the way to B1. It's probably a mile, realistically. It's a very long walk. So I get to that customer service desk. They tell me, oh, well, there's a flight to Amsterdam, but the doors are closing right now, so you can't go on that one. Then they rerouted me to a British Airways flight, which would have taken me to London, and then from London to Scotland. And they wouldn't give me a hotel for the night, even though it was a 10-hour wait. I wasn't going to leave until 10 o'clock in the morning. It was 10 o'clock at night, so I would have had to be back by 8 in the morning, and they would not, they wouldn't give me a hotel because it wasn't long enough. They wouldn't give me food. Also my luggage, they wouldn't give me my luggage back, so I was really upset. I called customer service. I was being transferred to a manager and got hung up on, which was really upsetting. I called back. The next person I talked to was really nice, but she didn't really fix anything. All she did was credit my account, airline miles through Delta, which I don't. After this whole disaster, I'd probably prefer not to fly Delta. I mean, that was very kind of her, but it didn't really solve the problem. So I started to head from Terminal 4, where Delta is, to Terminal 7, where British Airways is, and by now it's 11:45 at night. And I went to the Delta service desk and asked them where I needed to go. They directed me to Terminal 7. Took the tram, get to Terminal 7, get there, and I had a flight rerouting pass, but it wasn't a boarding pass, so I had to go up to the gate and the ticket desk and get a boarding pass printed. Well, there was no employees anywhere, so finally, I flagged someone down, and she was like, well, you don't have a boarding pass, so we can't let you through security. And I'm like, well, that's what I'm here for. Can't you print me a boarding pass? And she's like, no, I'm leaving, and nobody gets back until 4:30 in the morning. And I was like, wait, nobody? You're saying that this area of the airport is effectively closed for the next 4.5 hours? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, this is really what you're really treating your customers in this way right now. And she was like, yeah. And I at this point was now really upset because they had taken my Delta boarding pass, so I couldn't get back into Terminal 4. I didn't have a British Airways boarding pass, so they wouldn't let me into Terminal 7. No one gave me a hotel. I couldn't even get food or anything because I was literally in the entryway to the airport. And so I just, in a very moment of exacerbation, sat down in the airport lobby and just started sobbing because I was tired. I was hungry. I was told that I needed to stay in the lobby of the airport for the next 10 hours. And it was really, really upsetting. So I finally composed myself after probably 20 minutes of like ugly crying and went back to Terminal 4. And there's like a ticketing desk outside of the terminal. So I went up to the ticketing desk, and Elvis was his name. He was PSA Elvis at JFK. I want to be very clear. Every other person from Delta that I spoke with was horrible, like zero customer service, like this is someone else's problem. Like basically what everybody kept telling me was that the girl at the airport in Rochester should have rerouted me. And then because she didn't, that wasn't their problem. That was her problem. But what about me? Like in the meantime, what about me? So I went up to the desk and I just started to recall this whole story to him. And there were a couple other employees there and they were all very nice to me, but they weren't helping me. It was him helping me, and he was wonderful. He was just compassionate and kind, and I'm sitting there crying, and he looks at my rerouting form and he was like, I'm going to be honest with you, I think this is a bad reroute. They're only giving you 35 minutes to get through customs at Heathrow and then get to your gate and make this flight to Amsterdam. I don't think you're going to make it. I'm going to get you a hotel. We'll put you on the 24 hours later flight, and I know it sucks that you're going to miss that time, but there's a very good chance that if you don't take this flight, you're going to get stuck at Heathrow in London anyways. This is the better way to do it. He gave me a voucher for food. He got me a hotel. My flight now this was probably, at this point, it's probably close to like 2 a.m. because it's been a disaster all night. So I went downstairs. It was like a diner. I got some food to go. Got on the train to my hotel, realized once I've taken the 20-minute train to my hotel that in my like exhausted stupor, I left my backpack, which has like everything I need in it, like all my electronics, like my Nintendo Switch, like all sorts of stuff. It had all sorts of stuff in it. So I tried to, while I'm taking the train back to the diner, I'm trying to like call the diners based on the phone number, and I couldn't get through. So all I'm thinking to myself is they are going to blow up my backpack. You always hear in the airport, like, do not leave luggage unattended. If you see luggage unattended, report it. This is a big deal. Luggage unattended is subject to destruction. Oh my God. So I get back to the diner and I couldn't, like, no one was answering me. Like, it was honestly, the diner's customer service was phenomenally bad. So I couldn't even find anybody to ask, but my backpack was actually right where I left it, and I wanted to just tell someone I'm taking this before I left. But what's nuts to me is that was a black backpack, and it sat there for 35-40 minutes, and nobody said anything. Like, there wasn't obviously a bomb in it, but there could have been a bomb in it, and all of those people just sat around. It was a completely unattended black backpack all by itself, and they just left it there. Like, what? Like, we go through all of these hoops at airport security. You have to take your shoes off. You have to put all your shit in a plastic bag. And, take this out, take that out. And then they're just going to let a black backpack sit unattended for over a half an hour in an airport? Unacceptable. Anyway, so I get my backpack. Obviously, I'm glad it didn't get destroyed. But still, like, nobody even checked it out. Like, nobody, they just left it there. Like, I understand the idea of not stealing things. And I am grateful for all the people who didn't steal it. But, like, it could have been a bomb. Like that. Ugh. So anyways, take my backpack, get back on the train to go to the hotel, get to the hotel, and I could not sleep at all. I was like uncomfortable. I was in these clothes that I had been in like all day. I didn't have a change of clothes, which I normally do. I don't know. I just didn't anticipate anything going wrong. So I couldn't sleep because of this, but at least I like laid down and rested, and I got breakfast in the morning and I felt a little bit better. Ended up making my flight at 9:30 at night, got to Scotland, everything was fine, so I can't really complain. What was nuts is that the Delta app said my luggage was lost. It said there's a problem with your luggage. So just as I was in Scotland walking over to the luggage desk, my luggage like comes around the corner, and I'm like, who cares, thank God. But when I left Scotland, when I was checking in, and I was checking my luggage, the guy behind the counter was like, is this luggage you brought with you? And I was like, yeah. And he asked me, he's like, did you have to come pick this up, or did we ship it to you or anything? And I was like, no. And he was like, this bag is lost in our system. Great. So first, I leave a backpack completely unattended. Nobody gives a shit. Then you lose a piece of luggage, and like, according to you, you lost it and you didn't even contact me. Like, I'm a frequent flyer with Delta. Like, I am, the Zone 1 boarding, the whole 9 yards. Like, I have a credit card through them, and like, nobody even called me or in any way alerted me. So they thought my bag was lost. It wasn't. Then also think about that for a second, because that means that my bag was like not scanned. Like, how did it get on a plane? So this all seems very irritating and whatever. So anyways, that was my experience with Delta, and it was extremely, extremely upsetting. And once my airline points are used up through them, I probably will avoid flying them at all costs, because I've had situations like this happen. Like, I know that people trash talk American Airlines. I know it, but I have never had a bad experience with American Airlines in my life. And I think part of that is because they're part of that Star Alliance. They're such a huge airline, and they're connected with so many other huge airlines that, you know, if something goes wrong, they've got other flights that they can put you on. Whereas Delta is like, it's big, but it's not as big as like American Airlines. So like, I literally had to wait 24 hours when I missed my flight, and it was their fault. What was really upsetting about that too is that my flight was like, they were closing the boarding doors as I was getting off. Like, I really did almost make it, and they knew that I was on that flight, and you're telling me they couldn't wait 2 minutes? Like, when I was leaving Germany, when Nick and I were leaving the Munich airport, when we were leaving the Munich airport to take our long flight from Munich to New York, our plane was held an hour and a half almost, because there were 8 passengers on a plane that was held up because of weather. And you're telling me that, like, when the airport held me up over 2 hours and it wasn't my fault at all, that they couldn't wait 5 minutes? Oh, it was such a disaster. I actually found out, too, because I was meeting my friend Carrie on that flight, that she said they had overbooked it as well. So, like, all of this seems very fishy to me, because she said when she sat down, there was a couple sitting there, and she was like, we had booked, so there was a row of 3, and we had booked, like, the middle, the aisle, and the window in hopes that we would end up with the whole row to ourselves. And if we didn't, we would have just switched with whoever's in the middle. If they wanted the aisle or the window, it would have been up to them. So we weren't really being jerks or anything. But, so a couple was sitting in my seat and the middle seat, and they showed her, and they were booked for those seats. And I was already checked in for that flight, meaning that they double booked that flight, which I booked directly through Delta. It's not even like I went through a different airline. Like, I went through my, like, account at delta.com. So it makes me feel like they intentionally, like, I know that's, like, very paranoid thinking, but why was my seat booked? Like, they, you know what I mean? The whole thing just seems so... Oh, but the takeaway from this is, despite all of the incompetent, like, just grossly incompetent, rude, I mean, I felt at some points like I was being bullied. Like, I felt when I was sent from Terminal 4 to Terminal 7 at 11:45 at night, the person who did that knew for a fact I was going to get locked out of Terminal 7 and Terminal 4, that I would be in that little area, and that it would no longer be his problem and he wouldn't have to deal with me. And it felt like I was manipulated into going away. And it was really, really upsetting. And then to find out that they had, like, overbooked my seat, and, like, it would have been a problem had I made it anyways. It's just... what a bad experience to have. And despite all of the people that were horrible, I, like, can't stress enough that Elvis at JFK at the ticketing desk, like, he was wonderful, and he deserves a raise. Like, he fixed all of the things. But truthfully, like, yes, he did fix it, but, like, all he did was his job. Like, it was, I mean, it seemed like this above and beyond and so compassionate, but truthfully, that is what the person should have done when I missed my flight because of them in the first place. Like, there's no excuse for them to rebook me on a flight that there's no way I'm going to make. There's no reason for them to mention that I couldn't get on the flight to Amsterdam. There's no reason to even bring that up. There was no reason not to give me a hotel when I was having to stay overnight. There was no reason to send me to a term. Like, everybody didn't do their jobs. So when I finally talked to someone who did do their jobs, it felt like the heavens had parted, but truthfully, like, there was no reason for it to begin with. But I'm glad I got that off my chest. I wanted to make a video. I thought about it, like, why I'll never fly Delta ever again, but I figured I instead would just rant to you guys and you would listen to me. But the actual trip to Scotland was amazing. Scotland is so beautiful, although I will say I'll make a whole vlog about Scotland, because Scotland, I've been to a few places in my life. I've been to London, England. I've been to Cambridge, England. I have been to Paris, France. I've been to Cologne, Germany. I've been to a couple different, like, I've been to Vancouver. I've been to Toronto. I'm not, like, super well traveled, but I'm also not, like, in my own little bubble. And being that I had been to a few different places in Europe, I kind of had expectations of what Scotland would be like. No. Scotland was like stepping back in time. Like, the infrastructure, and it just was... I just can't imagine a situation where you drive for 2 hours and you don't see anything. Like, there's no gas stations. There's nothing. There's nothing. Like, there's so much uninhabited nature in Scotland. It was absolutely gorgeous, and I'm so glad I got to go. And in case I haven't said it enough, I just want to really thank my friend Carrie for inviting me along. I mean, we paid our own ways. It's not like she sugar daddied my way to Scotland, but yeah, it was really awesome to get to experience that with a friend, and I had a really, really wonderful time, and I'm glad I went with her. And while we were there, she's actually 100% Scottish. She's really into genealogy and stuff. And I kind of was hating on her. Like, I was being a hater. I was like, I don't really get genealogy. Like, live in the now. Don't live in the past. Who cares? Like, I don't get it. Like, that was me. I'm not kidding. That was me. I was so fucking rude. And then when we were at the... I can't remember the name of it, and it's like a very famous castle too. It was Clan Mackenzie's castle, and it's right as you're getting onto the Isle of Skye. I can't think of the name of it at all, and it's a super famous castle. But when we were there, he asked us our names, and my maiden name is Mackie, and he said, "Oh, Mackay," and I was like, "I don't know, but sure, you know." And so I of course, then now it's piqued my interest, and I looked it up, and the Clan Mackay in Scotland back in the day was, if you're like a big fan of like Scottish history, bad news fam, the Mackay clan was on the wrong side of the Jacobite rebellion. I mean, obviously the right side because they didn't die, but they fought with the Brits against the Jacobites. But what was interesting about it is that they were a friendly clan as long as you were willing to kill the same people they were trying to kill, because they were members of the Mackay clan who were Irish, not Scottish at all. And that's like the part where my family comes in, because my grandfather's parents, grandparents, great-grandparents were Irish, like Irish immigrants. But so anyways, I ended up getting home and doing all of this research on my genealogy. Now it's crazy, because now I've tracked back relatives to like the 1600s. Like my grandmother's parents, one of them is a Polish immigrant, the other one is Quebecois. It's like Quebec. But what's nuts is I can trace my grandmother's family, like her dad's side, to Quebec back to like the early 1700s. Like, I haven't gotten to the point where they immigrated from France. I know they did, but I'm not there yet. And her mom's family is all Polish, Austrian, and then my grandpa's parents, I haven't even gotten out of the U.S. yet. They're still in the U.S. and I'm back to like the mid 1700s. And I was looking at like my mom's side, and my mom's side is even more interesting because her family has been here for a hella long time. Like, they didn't even, wherever they immigrated from was like 1400s, 1500s, because I'm into the 1600s, and they're still here. And when I say here, I mean like the towns that I grew up in. Like, I grew up in like central New York, and I moved around a lot, but it was like, if you're familiar, it was like the Syracuse area, Rome, Utica, Vernon, Camden, Blossville, Lyons Falls, like all that central New York farmy area is where I grew up. And it is crazy because my mother's family on both sides had just been in that area for like 400 years. Like, that's just, they just posted up there and that's where they've been. And it was really interesting because you can see, I used Ancestry.com, not sponsored. I'm paying like $35 a month, and me and my mother-in-law Nick are all using the same account, but it allows you to see like records from other countries, and you can access all these libraries and stuff. It's really cool. But I thought it was nuts that, like, you know, the line that I came from grew up like in these little podunk towns, and you could see things like who fought in the Revolutionary War, who fought in World War I, who fought in World War II. I learned that my third great-grandfather was missing his middle finger on his left hand. I don't know why, but he was. And I think one of the coolest things that I learned out of the whole thing is that I did get back to France eventually on my mom's side. Just like one of the brothers or something, I don't remember, but I got back to France in like the early 1800s, and one of her relatives was a journalist for a newspaper in France in the 1800s, which I thought was crazy because on these censuses that, you know, they would fill out, one of the questions was like, are you literate? Can you read? Because so many people couldn't read, and like I had an ancestor who couldn't even just read, but he was like writing and reporting, and I thought it was kind of cool because not that what I do is journalism, but it kind of is, right? Like, it's sort of a form of that. So I just thought it was neat. And I also feel like I misspoke because I think a minute ago I said like I had traced my mom's family back and I hadn't gotten that far yet, but it splits off into like 4 relatives, and like 3 of them are all still, you know, of her parents' parents. 3 out of the 4 of them, so it would be my great-grandparents, have been in New York as far as I can trace back, and then one of them came here from France in like, I don't know, the early 1800s, I think, but he was a journalist. He was a journalist in, I want to say Montague, France. Is that a place? That might be wrong, but yeah, super cool, like, learning about all this stuff, and what a hater I was to be like, it's stupid, who cares? And then next thing you know, I'm up until like 3 a.m, like, how far back can I go? So I thought that was really interesting. What was crazy too is I can't find it now, but when I would show you, but I don't think it's going to be a good idea to show you on my phone. But when I was looking through all of this, I actually found a yearbook picture of my mom's mom. Like, it was uploaded, and you could just tell it was her. Like, it looked just like, because I look really similar to my mom, kind of. I look more like my dad than my mom, but there are definitely some features that are definitive that I am related to her, but she was like a spitting image of her mom. So when I saw the yearbook, I didn't even need a caption. I knew exactly which one was, my grandma Betty, even though I had never met her. She died when my mom was only 12, but it was a shame because I'm not really on good terms with my mom. Not my fault. I would love to be on terms with my mom. That's just not the way that my life works. But, I wanted to, like, send her the picture, and I think she has me blocked on Facebook. So I was just going to send it to her and be like, hey, I'm not trying to start shit. I just thought you'd want this picture of your mom, but I don't have, like, a way of contacting her. But if you happen to be watching this, biological mother of mine, and you would like that picture, just shoot me an email. I'm happy to give it to you. But, so that was kind of cool. And what's really cool about it is because I'm using Nick's mom's account, which Nick bought it for her as, like, a gift, like, the year long or whatever. She has her family, her maiden name is Hansberger, and she has her family traced back to, like, the 1100s. Like, she has them traced back as far as, like, written history goes. It's so nuts. So, anyways, TLDR, don't hate on something because you might end up liking it and then have to eat your own foot, which is pretty much what I'm doing right now. But, so that's going on, and, yeah, I don't know. I am just exhausted. I'm just so tired from the night I didn't sleep, and then I also didn't sleep on the plane. So I didn't sleep the night that I was stuck in JFK. Then my flight was a red eye, and I just can't sleep on planes. So then I didn't sleep then either. So that was 2 nights in a row. And then we did the full, like, Scottish touring the first day I got in, because I got in at like 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, and we like hiked and did all this stuff, and I was on absolutely no sleep. And then I slept like a rock that night, and I slept pretty good the next couple nights. And then the night before we left, I didn't sleep again because we had to leave really early in the morning, like 5 o'clock in the morning or something like that. And it's just, my body knows, like, if we're going to bed at like 1 or 2 o'clock and I have to get up at 5, I'm not even going to fall asleep. Like, my body isn't going to betray me to sleep through an alarm. It's just going to keep me awake. So between all of that, I like went full, I felt bad for Nick when I got home because I went full comatose. Like, I was like sitting on the couch eating something, fell asleep on, it wasn't a couch, it was a chair. I have like a recliner in his office. Freaking fall asleep in my chair. And then he's like, I don't know, he like changed the channel on TV or something, and I just was like that deliriously like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, Love, you're just tired. He calls me Love. Yeah, that's cute, right? He's like, you're just tired. And I'm like, I am tired. So, like, brought me up to bed. And, like, while I was, like, waiting for him to come to bed, I fell asleep again and then woke up and was disoriented again. Like, didn't know where it was, didn't know what time it was. The light bulb in the bedroom randomly blew, so I went to turn the light on, and it was pitch black. Nothing happened. So then I was all discombobulated again, and he was like, oh, my God, just go to bed and stay in bed, you maniac. So I ended up sleeping really well that night. I just slept, like, 10 hours or something stupid like that because I was at that point of tired where it was bad. It was, like, I was literally like almost hallucinating, like delirious, but we made it through. And then I slept fantastic last night too. I went to bed at like, I had a really bad headache, which was probably from like lack of sleep over the past week. So I didn't raid last night. I like got on to raid and I was like, I'm tired and I'm miserable. You guys can do this without me. And they're like, oh my God, leave. We don't want you here. Which, side note, congratulations to my guild, because my guild has 2 raid groups, and my raid group, like, I'm sort of the raid leader, but mostly I just break up fights when people start bickering. Like, I don't really raid lead. We have like a paladin who's really good, and he does kind of more raid leading than I do. But so anyways, we had only downed heroic kill Jaden one time, and we had some people from our mythic, because we have 2 raid groups, one of them's heroic, one of them's mythic, and we had a couple people from the mythic group kind of like, I don't want to say help, but they were participating in that kill. So we weren't sure, like, is this us? Can we still do it? And while I was gone, while nobody from the mythic team was there, they one-shot killed Jaden. Friggin' bosses. You guys are amazing. So you don't need me anyways. That's what's going on. I'm excited. I've got some good videos coming up. I like how I'm just like all over like my ADD is out of control. It's not controlled well at all right now. But I have some cool videos coming up. Draw My Life is happening before BlizzCon. I know you don't believe me, but I swear I'm going to get my nails done on Tuesday, so I plan to film it on like Wednesday or Thursday because I want my nails to look on fleek for that, because you see your nails, you know, like your hands. I'm also going to do like a things you didn't know about BlizzCon video, which I'm really excited for. I'm trying really hard not to be clickbaity, and it's really hard because that's what gets views. The way that YouTube works currently is that you're really not... It's really difficult to make content for your subscribers because the subscriber box is pretty broken, and that's not how YouTube works right now. You're kind of fighting with the algorithm to try to end up in recommended and this, that, and the other thing. So clickbait is what gets views. And what's nuts is anytime I do anything just remotely clickbaity, I get called out and yelled at and everybody's mad. But then like there's all these videos right now that's like, new WoW expansion confirmed. And it's not friggin' confirmed. Nothing is friggin' confirmed. But nobody yells at them. It's bull. It's real bull. So I'm trying very hard to not do clickbaity things while still doing things that hopefully will help me in algorithm searches. So I know that you hear this a lot from other people, and I don't think I'm one of those people that does that a lot, but if you are watching my videos and you enjoy them, please consider thumbing them up or favoriting them, because it really helps with the algorithm. Leaving a comment, any sort of interaction with the video helps with the algorithm. So if you ever want to like support my content, that's the best way to do it. Believe it or not, it's free. It doesn't cost you anything, and it really does help out. So yeah, that's all the things that are going on. I will have my regular video on Tuesday telling you what's going on in the world of Warcraft, and then some real fun videos at the end of next week, early next week. So end of next week, early the week after, whatever. I am going to go. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I love you all so much. You're in my hearts. I'll see you soon. Goodbye. Goodbye.